go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Chris, and this is Barn on 11970, and I have one more little video I want to do. And yes, this is a rant video. It's more of a vlog. I don't know what they categorize it, nor do I care. But I'm going to start out with some good stuff, because I think that's needed in this world. I'm down to one DJ job, because the economy, especially around here, is pretty bad, especially for karaoke DJs, and that's fine. You know, I have my massage business. I make what little money I make here to try and survive. And the one place that I go to that I DJ at is basically a dead bar. And it doesn't matter what night of the week that they operate, there's hardly anybody there. I don't know why. The bartenders are amazing, they're friendly, and the few people that do show up, I always have fun. But it is what it is, and to me, something's better than nothing. On an average, I used to make on one DJ night for 4 hours, I could make anywhere from $150 up to $400, depending on where I worked in the past. Now I'm lucky if I pull home around $60, which is fine. And I'm not ranting about the money I make. I'm just trying to say why I do what I do. Now, I drive about 45 minutes to go to this job, where there's about 12 to 15 regulars that have been coming every week for months. Now, here's the funny part. The people that go there would be the people that most people would make fun of. I mean, they are transgender, with the first transgender people I've ever met in my life. Either gay or bisexual. I would say, as far as weight is concerned, overweight for the most part. The people that most people would say are not the cool type. My experience with these people have been nothing but amazing. They are the most friendly, the most loyal, the most kind people I've ever met. They actually, when they say, "How are you?" they actually care. Because if I go there and DJ, knowing I'm not going to make a lot of money, but need the money, and I have that kind of look on my face of where I'm trying to entertain people, but it's, like they say, the show must go on. So when I'm DJing, my job is to entertain people. But some of them, they could see the look on my face sometimes that I'm not exactly having the most fun DJing for. As much as I appreciate the 12 people, knowing that I'm not going to make a lot of money, they actually will come over and be like, "Chris, are you all right? Do you need a drink? Do you want us to get anything? Are you okay?" They actually show concern where no one else has ever before. And these are the people that most people will insult, who will ignore, who will make preconceived judgments about. And these people are amazing. They come every week, they ask me how I am, and actually mean it. They actually care. There have been times that we do a contest where we call it the dollar bill contest, where every week people put in $1, and then whatever is in the amount, we pull it out of the bucket. You write your name on the dollar, and whoever picks it wins it all. And every now and then, the person who wins, instead of just saying, "Oh, I just pocketed that money," they'll actually throw some my way, because they know that I'm there, not making the money I'm supposed to, entertaining them so they can have a good time. So there are some good people in this world. I mean, I've been DJing since 1999, and I've experienced some of the most wretched people in my life. The people that don't care about anything other than themselves. And the sad part is, when it comes especially to the internet and my experience, and all I can do is share my personal experience. Whether you care about it or not, I cannot control. This is not going to be a very widely watched video, and that's fine, because I'm doing this primarily for me. If somebody gets anything out of this, then that's a beautiful thing. But I know this isn't going to be a highly watched video, nor do I care. This is for me, or for anybody it matters to. My experience on YouTube has been so negative from the average person. Now, there are definitely some great exceptions to the rule. I have some amazing people that come here that are supportive, who will care, who actually want to do change. But the negativity that I receive on a daily basis, I wish, one of these days I might even just make a video showing the comments and the emails that I get on a daily basis, ridiculing, insulting, I could do 99% of a good video, and if there's one thing I say wrong or do wrong or is wrong, instead of saying anything positive about anything I do, they just insult me. They just, because they can. And this world, I've been signing, because like I said in the other video, if you haven't watched it, and most people won't, because, out of 28,000 subscribers, the more subscribers I get, the less views I get. Go figure. I'm probably the only person on YouTube where that happens. Why they subscribe, I have no idea. But, I lost my train of thought. Oh, the video I made just earlier, I was talking about the fact that I will be getting my money back from the person who basically lied. And they pretended to be trustworthy. They pretended to think there was a mistake, even though they kept getting caught in lies. And it ended up, they went behind my back, and something that we agreed with to make a purchase on, they ended up selling to someone else behind my back. And they're refunding the money. Well, they didn't have a choice. But the point of the matter is, people don't keep their word anymore. At least from what I experience. Now, obviously, not everybody is that way, and I'm not going to sit here and say that. And that's the problem, I think, in this world, is so many people are so quick to categorize everybody in a label. There are good people and there are bad people. I don't care what color they are. I don't care what creed they are. I don't care what religion they worship or don't worship. People should be defined as, are you a good person or are you a bad person? And it's funny, the more I spend my time on YouTube and the more I look around the world and see what people are doing, it's just so much selfishness. Whatever happened to people's word? Whatever happened to integrity? And people are so much claiming the victim at this point, instead of realizing that you have the choice to make anything in your life. And as far as, like, for example, with my karaoke job, yes, I'm not making the money I should, but I have fun doing it. And I will sacrifice some of the economic advantages of having a piece of crap job I would hate to do what I love. It's called sacrifice. And let me tell you something. I was born in the generation of watching things like Roadrunner cartoons, where you had a fox constantly trying to murder a roadrunner. There was a lot of violent movies, a lot of racial movies. Look at the movies, for example, like Blazing Saddles. That movie would never be able to be made today. I don't hate people based on their race. I don't want to hurt people, because here's the thing. I'm educated enough and had parents who cared enough to teach me what's right and wrong, and what's the difference between fantasy and reality. And this world right now is coming to the point where we are having nothing but people who spend their days hurting others, insulting others, criticizing others, attacking others, thinking they're better because somebody predicted something that ended up being wrong, and they could sit there, even though they predicted nothing, that they have pleasure in pointing out when somebody does wrong, but never points out anything they do right. The hypocrisy in this world. I mean, people are going to get what they deserve. And that's why I don't live in fear, and that's why I don't worry about the people who judge me and insult me and attack me all the time. I point it out because it's a way, if you don't realize there's problems and you don't face them, you cannot fix them. People try and bottle everything up inside, pretending that it doesn't matter. Well, all you're doing is you're kidding yourself and you're hurting yourself in the long run. And if you don't face your fears, if you don't face your truths, if you don't stand up for what you believe in, one day you will not have that opportunity anymore. And we are losing that, ladies and gentlemen. There are so many people now, it's like, oh, if you're a feminist, then everything males do is wrong. Oh, you're a person that supports the Black Lives Matter, then I guess that means no one else's lives matter. There should be unity. And yet we don't have it. And there is more division and more hatred that I've ever seen in my soon-to-be 46 years of life. I will be turning 46, ironically enough, on November 9th. I was born November 9th, 1970, which is why the title of my username is Barnon11970. I was born November 9th, 1970. So the day when we find out who our next quote-unquote president, quote-unquote leader of the quote-unquote free world is the day I was born. things are not getting better. People are so afraid to stand up for themselves. The ones that are not afraid to stand up for themselves, instead of doing anything positive, they go to hurt people, insult people, judge people, silence people. I was brought up that if you had nothing nice to say nothing at all. And it's almost like these people want to bring out the negativity in you. And in a way, I kind of like that because it makes you have a choice of what you choose to be. And there have been times I've been defensive, but I realize I don't want to be that type of person. And sometimes you have to experience these things to see if it's something you want or don't want. And what the world is saying right now is that they want division, not unity. That they want separation. They want arguing and hatred because it's easier. It doesn't take an intellectual person to say you're an idiot. It doesn't take any amount of intelligence to hit somebody. It doesn't take years of research to abandon people. It definitely doesn't take honor to lose your integrity. It's easy to judge. It's easy to hurt. It's easy to separate. It's easy to silence people. Because what somebody else's belief is should not be as entitled as your belief. What nerve some people have in this world to say only their opinion matters and others shouldn't. And we are accepting this political world of if you say anything that somebody doesn't like, then we need to ban it for all, is going to silence everybody to the point where one day, even the ones who ban things will have things that they like disappear. Not everybody is a racist. And at the same time, everybody is a racist. It depends on what you do with it. Everybody has the potential of being a murderer. But that doesn't mean that every single person murders someone. At any given moment, somebody could have the capacity and the ability to murder and take somebody's life. And yet there are plenty of people who choose not to do it. In the animal world, buffaloes tend to stick with other buffaloes. Horses tend to roam with other horses. Lions tend to roam with other lions. It's just part of nature. My thing is, if we take away people's choices, what do we have? Like, for example, I've been watching a lot about the feminist movement, Black Lives Matter, and all these things, because you can't learn something unless you research it. And the only way you could research it is hear from people that speak about it. One of the things I see all the time now, especially in, for example, a feminist movement, they talk about the fact that they have to have equality in everything. Well, I challenge any feminist to go work for the garbage industry and get on the truck at 6, 4, 5 in the morning and take people's garbage. I challenge them to go to a construction site and for 8 to 12 hours a day, lift up heavy bags of concrete up and down a flight of stairs. I challenge any of these feminists to go on a crab boat in the Alaska waters, risking your life to do those jobs that mostly men do. Now, does that mean that makes us better? No. It just means we're supposed to be different for a reason. The yin and the yang, the opposite. And yet, what is the world trying to teach? These politically correct people trying to teach everybody is supposed to be the same. So they want to create robots where you're not allowed to speak. And if you say something that somebody doesn't like, you are banned and they will change the word and not allow it to be said. Comedians don't even want to go to colleges anymore because this new generation of offended people will be offended by anything they say. We're losing our humor. You wonder why people are so angry and defensive? It's because we're allowing it. We're not standing up for it. We think this is something that isn't our fight. Well, by the time most people realize it's our fight, that fight will have been lost. And we're seeing things like this hammering of the gold and silver, which is the inspiration of the video I made just earlier that very few people will watch of my 28,000 subscribers, is that they just hammer things down time and time again to the point where even the people that know that it's a rigged system just joke about it. Look what they're doing again. Why did we become so complacent? Why are we allowing this? What happened to people's integrity, their honor, where their word actually meant something? Now, that doesn't mean people aren't perfect, and people do make mistakes. It's what you do after the mistakes that define who you are as a human being. Not as a male, not as a female, not as a black person, not as a white person, not as a straight person or a gay person or a bisexual person, but a human being. And this PC world that we're living in is driven by the people that will enslave us all, because instead of us paying attention to the people that have caused these divisions and started these instigations, we are fighting amongst ourselves like idiots. So I welcome all the trolls and their hatred, because it shows they have no intellectual capacity. They have no chance of reason and thought and provocative information where you can actually learn something. Is it a proud moment for people to spend their days hating people? Is your life so filled with a void that you cannot fill, that you get joy and pleasure out of the demoralizing of other fellow human beings? If I am a business owner, I should have the right to hire who is best for my job, not because I need to have a certain amount of different colored people or different gendered people. It should be the best person for the job, which means I would get the best output. And people talk about this illusion of people not making the same amount of money. Well, that may be true, but it also depends on what type of work you do. If there is a male and a female that is working in the stock room, now I'm not talking about stocks and bonds, I'm talking about stocking of equipment. Physically, men are just stronger. That's just the truth. Now, there are exceptions to every rule, but why do some people take that as an offensive statement? And why is it not okay for male and female species to be different? We're supposed to be. That's why men have a penis and women have a vagina. They are supposed to connect and create life because they are different. But if you have a man in a stockroom, an average person, and an average woman in a stockroom, who do you think is going to be able to physically lift more things? On average, that would be the man. That's not insulting women, it's just a fact. Women, on average, are not as physically strong as men. Just like men, on average, are not as intellectually have the ability to communicate like a woman can. It's not an insult, it's just the way it is. It's supposed to be that way. Men are, on average, more physical. Women, on average, are more intellectual. So if I was a person who was hiring, and I had a person who was qualified for a job who was going to do more physical labor, wouldn't they deserve more money? And on the other end, if I was hiring somebody for their intellectual ability, and on average, if a woman has more intellectual ability than a man does, because a man wants to fight on average, a man just wants to argue. Women do love to tend to debate and get in touch with feelings and dig into things deeper, and that's a great thing. So if I was an employee, would I want a man who just wants to fight about stuff on average, or a woman that wants to intellectually stimulate whatever that job it needs? They deserve more money. You can't go based on average. But yet this is what we want to do. We want to have this inequality and think that that's the way life is. And I can only speak from a male's perspective because I'm a man. I can only guess what a woman's speaking. But I also don't insult to think they don't have the rights and they don't have the ability to be different. We're not supposed to be the same. Otherwise, we would have been born the same. And we're trying to change human nature and nature in itself. And yet, all of these these movements that are supposedly there for good causes, and they may have started out that way. If they are so good, then why is there so much hatred? Why is there so much division? Why is there more separation than I've ever seen in my lifetime? Anybody please explain that? The more politically correct we get and the more silenced some people try and make us, the more frustrated and defensive the other side gets, and all we do is battle amongst ourselves. Aren't you tired of it? Like, there are so many times, it's like, I read the comments of the nasty words that people say. Most of them you will never see. And the emails that I get is just constant berating. To the point where I would love to give up, but I'm not going to. I'm just that stubborn. And yet, I don't go to people's channels and just troll them that I don't like. To me, it's a waste of energy. But that's what this world does now. And that's why I can deal with people who promise me the world and pretend to be friends and try and do all these things, and then just lie and cheat and steal. Because they can. It's easy. It doesn't take intelligence. If you're a person that spends your days hating on other people all the time without the chance of actually having an intellectual conversation that reflects more about who you are as a human being than the person you are judging and attacking, we're not going to fix this world. And I am fine with that, because I can only do the best I can for myself. So I don't live in fear. I don't worry about judgment. I've done the best that I can, as imperfect as I am. And I'm okay with being imperfect, because that's what makes us human. And these people that spend all their days judging others and hating on others and telling others what they can do and what they could say and what they can think and what they can buy, who are they? Who on this earth gave them the authority to tell other people what to do? And yet, we as humans, for some reason, feel the need to have to be led. Why? Because we've been told that? Why? Because we're used to that? How is that freedom? How can you say anywhere in this world you want freedom when you are putting the decisions that can affect your life in the hands of others? Please, can anybody explain to me how that is freedom? I've always assumed that the definition of freedom is you can do whatever you want, wherever you want, whenever you want, and if you have any kind of common sense, you should know the difference between right and wrong. Right now, I could go, if I wanted to my next door neighbor, take out a knife and murder them. Why don't I do that? Because it's wrong. I don't need to be told what is right and what is wrong. And the sad part is there are so many that do. And Sharky T says, not to be negative, there is no honor of people keeping their word. When I do, I'm looked at like a loony. Yeah, and that's the thing. People don't keep their word anymore. I have proof of that just by the person I dealt with in the past 48 hours who kept swearing they were going to do the right thing. There's a difference between what people say and what people do. And the integrity of this world is going to shit. And I might not get everything right, but I'm not afraid to make a stand. Like, I've had so many people after the debates happened, they go back to my video where I said there will be no debate, because that's what I believed in. People can, after the fact, say, oh, look how wrong you are. What are you going to say now, wrong, stupid? And you go to their channels and they contribute nothing. They say nothing. But they'll come here to ridicule somebody. I don't understand why people do that. And in a way, I am glad I don't understand, because that means I could never be those people. The more I interact with the average person, the more I am so glad I've pushed so many people out of my life, or they've pushed me out of their lives. I'm so happy with that. And out of 28,000 people, if I get a couple of people, 100 people that listen to this, they're the ones that I care about. And it shows what this world is. A few people who care, and the majority who are selfish, arrogant pricks who do nothing more than judge other people. And yes, I can make a judgment too, but here's the thing. I'm not banning you from ever doing anything in your life. I'm allowed to have an opinion, whether it's right or wrong, whether you believe in it or not. Why do we allow people to take away our choices, our freedoms? You are not free. Say it all you want. When you put your life decisions and life choices in the hands of a government or other people, how are you free? When you say to a government, here, tell me what I can and cannot do. Tell me that I need to give away partial parts of my money, even though you'll take that money and use it for war and stealing and gambling. How are you free? Take all your belongings, go to the border of your country, and leave, and see how fast you are stopped, or at the very least, questioned. Where is anyone in this world free? The illusion of freedom. Because you could walk around without being shot, and yes, there are some places that you'll have more freedoms than others, but no one is free. You may have more freedom, you are not free. I have told people time and time again for years, people ask the same question over and over again. What do I need to do to be free? Well, free yourself from the corrupt system, and most people don't want to do that because it requires sacrifice. I need my credit cards. Gotta get those, no money down, no interest loans. I need the banks, even though I can get a federal credit union. Well, I need to get stocks because they make me some money every now and then. I need to work for a boss because I need to pay my bills. Well, then don't complain. If you're in an abusive relationship where the spouse of either gender abuses you, whether physically or mentally, if you choose to stay, that's your decision. But then why are you complaining about it? People complain about their freedoms all the time, but yet they don't want to do what it takes, and it's so easy. You walk away. If you go to a casino knowing that the dealer is rigging the system, you can bitch and moan all you want, you can complain all you want, you can hold up a picket sign saying how unfair it is, but if you keep giving them your money, you're the idiot. And people are, oh, you've offended me. Well, truth hurts. You don't want to be scammed by a corrupt system? Leave it. Don't participate in it. Stop feeding the giant that is eating your village. It's amazing. Like, do you need a master's degree to figure out common sense? Is it that oblivious to people? And I'm not going to sit here and say I am better than anybody. I am just me. If you think that I am saying I am better, then you don't get it. I'm just different. I pay more attention to things other than just myself. Why do you think I have a channel where 90% of the people don't watch? 90% of the people who do watch do nothing but insult and ridicule me. My YouTube channel gets to the point where people tell me they get unsubscribed all the time. They don't get my videos working properly. YouTube tries so hard to keep the numbers down. Why do you think I do this? You think I do it because this is what's going to make me retire a millionaire? Or do you think I'm doing it because it's sacrifice? It's doing things to try and help people, even though it's unrewarding. If you think I'm doing this for a pat on the back or becoming famous, then, you don't make videos. It's just, to me, like my title says here, uniting the people one person at a time, and that's what it seems like I'm going to be doing. Most people have already tuned off. The average video I make is about 50 minutes long. The average watch time of my videos is about 8 minutes. People don't care. And yet, if you have some fight on YouTube, or some prank on YouTube, or some new video game on YouTube, millions of views in a day. Because that's what people want. People want to be distracted. They want to be entertained. They want to have somebody tell them that life is wonderful and that you're the victim and you don't need to take responsibility because poor you needs to be taken care of. Here's your freedom. What I tell you to be your freedom. And you thank them for it. And you curse out the people who say, stop being asleep. I will be hated forever for what I try and do. And yet I'm still here. I will be criticized for everything I do, and yet I'm still here. Instead of getting a 9-to-5 job where I can make a lot more money, be miserable but make a lot more money, I spend my time talking to people on a daily basis, never to be appreciated by the average. All I have to say is, out of 28,000 people, for the average views is about 1,000. That's not even 10% of the people. Why are you subscribed to my channel? I don't get it. And if I don't say anything that's productive, then you don't need to be here, and that's fine. But the people are getting what they deserve. If you keep ignoring these things and pretending this is fine and accept each little law that they pass, and you have the nerve to say you're free, then you don't get it. Or you do not understand what the word freedom means. Do you think, especially the religious people out there, do you think God placed, let's say Adam and Eve was a true story, and God placed Adam and Eve on the earth? Do you think then he put up a Taco Bell and a Burger King and a Walmart and a Wells Fargo and a government system and a toll booth and all these different things and say, here you go, here's your freedom? Or do you think they were placed on the earth to do whatever they wanted, and they should know the difference between right and wrong, and if you do something wrong, you should be punished for it? Nobody on this planet is free except for those extremely wealthy people who can do whatever they want. They're the ones telling you what to do, and you applaud them by waving your flag saying, oh, this person gets me. They're gonna save me. No, idiot, you need to save yourself. You're not free if somebody else is dictating how you live your life. But we accept it because that's what's always been. So I guess we got to continue it, and you wonder why the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting results. And yes, you could make the same argument that must label me as insane because I keep coming here day in and day out thinking that I can actually do some kind of change in the world by trying to tell people the same thing over and over again, that it's your choice to fail or succeed. But I'm willing to accept that. Because while so many ignore, while so many insult, why so many hurt, why so many separate, why so many condemn, I'm here trying to create what little unity I can, to get people to think for themselves, to stop relying on others, to stop thinking your freedom is based on what other people tell you you can and cannot do. That's the definition of stupidity. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. Every government throughout this world tells you how free you are, and yet they're the ones that are telling you that you're free. If you're free, you know you're free. Who does a king bow down to? Nobody. Who does a king ask for permission to do anything? Nobody. One day you're going to have to ask permission to wipe your own rear end. Because you may not do it right. You may offend somebody. You might not be allowed to ever say hello because there's the word hell and somebody might be offended that you're cursing at them. And you think that's funny? Think about 30 years ago, all the things that we do now. If we would have said this is what's going to happen in our future, they would have laughed. Because they don't do it overnight, because even the stupidest of people would get it if they did it that quickly. They have to slowly, progressively steal your truths, steal your freedoms, and steal your money. Otherwise, you might stop them. And yet all we do is praise them. And that's why I've said Hillary Clinton isn't going to save the world. And ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, Donald Trump is not going to save the world either. If you think he is going to influence the billions of dollars that circulate around this world controlling this system, you think he's going to have anything that will do to stop that, you are crazy, you are delusional, and you can keep waving your patriotic flags telling everybody how free you are. When you don't get to do what you love, you do many things that you have to. You're not allowed to speak certain words anymore. You're not allowed to go to every place in the world. You have to give up some of your money to other people so they can gamble it and use it for warfare so they can murder other people. And yet you scream freedom. How's that for irony? And that's why no one hardly will even watch this video. They'll watch it for a few minutes and then they'll get bored and shut it off. But they don't want to hear what needs to be said. They want to be plagiarized. They want to have people tell you everything's going to be all right. Or they want the other end to think, oh, you have no hope, you have no responsibility. Bullshit. You have all the responsibility in the world. You just choose to hand it to someone else. Because it doesn't take any effort to do that. And you hope they're going to continue to do the right thing. Please tell me one president in the 44 presidents we've had since we started this corporation. Please explain one president that got everything done. that made this country a better place. Peace and harmony and love, no division, no hatred, no need for war, no need for theft. Please explain. And yet now we're going to all assume this time it's going to be different. The 44 other times, not one president got anything that could make us even closer to a utopia, and the ones that tried got assassinated. But yet this time it'll be different. Why? Because he said things that we want to hear, or she said things we want to hear. Thank God they're not selling bridges. So, this is as long as I'm going to make this rant. I did this rant for me. If anybody else resonated with it at all, that's a beautiful thing. But don't stop and think I'm going to pander to my audience just to get views. As much as I need the money, the currency, so I can continue to live, I'm not going to sell my soul for it. Because my soul means more to me than anything superficial on this planet. And that is why I can live the way I live and still be, I can't say happy, because the world actually changes that. But I can say I don't have regrets of trying to do the right thing. If you're afraid to sacrifice, if you're unwilling to sacrifice, you'll understand if you understand what I'm saying or trying to say. I don't make sense all the time. I'm not some philosopher. I'm not some Harvard graduate. I'm not some quote-unquote professional. I'm just a regular person tired of the bullshit. Tired enough to where I put myself up for humiliation, attacks, death threats, because I care about the people other than myself. So, if you took the time to watch any of this video, thank you. I would be shocked if somebody listened to the whole thing. And if they did, I'm glad. I'll keep making my videos. I'll keep getting ignored. And I'll keep watching the world allow itself to burn. Because at one time it used to be that Nero fiddled while the world burned. But now, it's most of the world is fiddling while this world is burning. And when it's all burned away and there's nothing left, those people will sit there dumbfounded wondering how it got that way. And you'll blame other people, instead of realizing you chose to not stop it, to not care, because you got a little bit of pieces of paper to keep you quiet, keep you silenced, keep you in line. That sure is freedom, isn't it? You all have a wonderful day. Sleep well, and keep up your judgments. Keep up your attacks. Keep up your ridicules. Keep ignoring. Keep being politically correct. Keep separating. Keep dividing. And wonder why your grandchildren will grow up in a world that you only thought was in the movies. 1984 will soon be a documentary. Idiocracy is our future. Only because we don't choose to change it or think we can. That sucks for the people who have to endure it. Not me. Doesn't make me better. Just makes me me. Whether you like that or not, I can't control, nor do I care. So you all have a wonderful day. And don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered.